What's going on, peoples? I am DJ Ab, and today we're going to talk about making your first beat on the MPC Sample. And I want you guys to firmly understand that it's not very hard to use at all. Matter of fact, it's much easier to use than all the other modern day MPCs for many different reasons that I don't want to get into in this video. Now, with that being said, I'll have a link in the description box if you're interested in getting one of these. It's a link that will be for Guitar Center or whatnot, but it's available anywhere. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. When you first turn on your MPC Sample, you will be greeted with this screen right here. There's also this alternative screen right here, which it looks more like the traditional MPCs of old. And this is the sequence screen, and if you want to make beats, you will be on the sample screen. If you're an MPC head and you already know, then you have a main button, but on the MPC Sample, it is called the sample button. Now, when you have your first track or whatnot, you might be the demo track. All you have to do is press and hold shift, and then press this pad right here, which is your project button. And from here, you can either choose to load, save, or start a new project, or access your SD card. So what I want to do is go into a new project because I don't want to do anything with the project that's loaded. And now we have all these empty pads. When they have something in them, it will be blue, but right now it's yellow. And we'll pick this pad because the first thing we're going to do is pick out a kick. Now the MPC Sample does come with banks or whatnot, so basically you have kits that you can pick from. But all I want to do is make sure that we're on the internal screen, because if you want to access your external drive, you would just press this button right here in the middle. But let's go back, and then we'll go into the internal, and then we'll search for a sound right here, and we'll go with the kick. So let's go through the kicks. Kicks are under kicks, and then you'll start to hear sound accordingly. When you go through your sounds, you will hear them play immediately, and we'll adjust the volume a little bit because they are hitting real hard. So when I hear a kick that I want, then I'll go ahead and pick it out. So I like this Hank kick, and I'll press down on this data wheel and it will load in there. Now it is on this pad. And you'll notice that the pads are velocity sensitive and they have aftertouch, but that's more or less for another time. Now I'll look for a snare. So let's go ahead and go to a snare. Now I found a snare that I like. I like that snare. Press on the pad. Make sure that you select the pad that you want to use. It'll be this one right here. And now I'll do the same process over and over again until I have my kit. Now I have the kit put together, and what I want to do next is simply go back into the sample button right here. I keep on wanting to call it main button, but you know, sample button, and we can play with it. Everything sounds good, but what I want to do is make some quick adjustments to it, like volume and other things. So remember, the pads are velocity sensitive, so that means if I don't press the pads hard enough, you won't get enough thump to the drum. So what I normally do, even when I'm finger drumming or whatnot, I always, and just so you missed that, you see it says disabled, so disabling and enabling full level, and now I don't have to go so hard on the pads. You see? But what I want to do to get the mix right of my drums is use this right here, which is the fader. And this is a classic thing here on the MPC Sample, which is on the older MPCs as well. We're going to use this fader to adjust the volume. So now, and I'm going to turn down these hi-hats and the cymbal. So when so now that we have everything mixed perfectly, or at least good enough to where we can continue the process, what about loading up a sample? Well, it's a very simple process. Just like before, what I'm going to do, because I have a micro SD card inserted inside of my MPC sample, we'll just press the sample select button. And once we pick the sample select button, what we'll do is we'll go to our external and access it. So when you get your MPC sample, it will format in a certain kind of way. And now we can just go and look for our samples. Mine is located in the user folder. So I got a whole bunch of samples and I'm gonna search for the perfect one. Found me a sample in my folder and I like that. So what I'm gonna do in a sense here is simply put it up here at the very top. So make sure that you hit this pad and then hit the data wheel and it'll load in the sample. Since we have the sample in there, we'll press the sample button and it'll go automatically to that sample in itself here. You can hear it. So I'm not going to use everything in the sample. What I want to do is make good use of certain things that are in the sample. What I'll do is edit the sample right here. Like you can edit on the exact screen. And that is much better than a lot of the MPCs for that matter. But so I'll touch this right here, and this is the endpoint. You'll use your fixed encoders to adjust to where it needs to be. You can also use your data wheel to scroll through, and it'll be represented with a percentage sign. Here's a quick tip. If you want to get to an end part of your sample or whatnot, just go from the start and then make the adjustments there. So I'll just make the adjustments so I know where I need to stop at. And if you need to, you can also press and hold the shift button and then you can zoom in. So I can zoom in to the very end. So zoom into the end here and I can look at where I'm at. Now that we have that established, make sure that you just give it a good listen. And we're going to listen to it just a little bit. And I'll find out if I need to shift adjust. Again, you can do this with your data wheel. If necessary, I'll just go to this very end of the sample, and I think everything should be good from this point on. What I'll do now is zoom it in, and you can see I'm just using the data wheel, so you don't necessarily have to use these encoders. And once I reset it, I have all of what I want. Now that we have everything going, how would you trim the samples? Let me know in the comment section. Well, it's pretty simple. You would press and hold shift, and then you would hit pad number 13. Boom. And now it's going to trim the sample up. Everything that was within the start and end point will stay, while everything else that's outside the start and end point will go away. And now we have a totally new sample. And we might need to do an adjustment at the very beginning here. So I'll make sure that I have the start point right here. And then I will press shift, adjust it yet again. So let's adjust the start point right here. Boom. It's very simple, very simple. You want to get rid of all that empty space for when we chop the sample. So again, repeat the process. It'll trim it up. Then it'll load the waveform perfectly. Boom. Everything is there. There's other things that you can do while we're on this screen right here. When you are on the sample chopping screen, you can choose to mix it. So you can change the volume on this right here or with your fader, whatever one you prefer. And I think it's cool right here. The other thing you could do is tune. So you can tune it down by semitones. And once again, if you touch your encoder, you can adjust it with your data wheel. So now that we have manipulated the sample, you can also choose the warp if you want to as well, but I don't want to do that. We'll save that for another video. So with tuning, then you can choose how you want it to play. Right now it's in mono, but you can set it in stereo. You can also assign it to a mute group, and you can offset the sample as well. You have filters too. You have your filter cutoff. Right now it's in classic mode. So what we're going to do is go to this third Q-Link, or I keep on calling it Q-Link, but the third encoder, and I'm still stuck in MPC world. But Yeah, we're gonna go past a low pass filter and we're gonna get a high pass filter. So I'm gonna touch the cutoff and then I'm gonna adjust it some more. And I messed up there, so let's touch the cutoff, boom. And then now we'll mess with the sample. We want to create space for this kick. So in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Another thing that you can do is go over here and you can change your filter envelopes, which means that it will apply an envelope to your filter. So if you want your filter to come in a little later or faster, you can adjust it on the screen. So that's what that means. So you can adjust the attack. So if the attack comes in slower, then the filter will come in slower, and you can have it decay, and then you can add more depth and stuff like that. So the next thing we'll do is this right here. Well, if I go to the sequence screen, you see that the BPM is at 128, but I don't know what the BPM of this sample is because look, I don't know what it is. And what I'll do is I'll go back to the sample screen, play the sample itself, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And so what that's going to do is give me a guesstimation. I'm using tap tempo right here to give me a guesstimation of the sample itself. And when I go over here to the sequence, you can see that the BPM is at 90. So technically, if I was to do stuff like, let's just make sure that we have a metronome count. And we'll just press shift. So press and hold shift. Then we'll hit tap tempo. And then you can see you got the option of turning your metronome on and off. So the metronome is on by default. So we should get a good idea of what's going on right there. So we set up our BPM for success. The next thing we need to do is chop up this damn sample. So you can chop up the sample easily on the MPC sample just by pressing chop. And now you have different things that you can do while you're in chop mode. So let's go ahead and chop this up here. And you can set the start and end points too. I just run it back. What I'll do is go to the start point. So I want to start on 1 here. You can zoom in. So right about here. So that's how we're coming with that so far. So what we're going to do now is go into the sequence here, and I want to set up my bars. I think I might do 8 bars. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Maybe 4 bars. And you can test stuff out. And also on the screen, you can set up your quantize and stuff like that. You have 1/16. You can go all the way down to 1/8. You can also turn quantize off. So 1/16 is safe. 132 is a little wild. Matter of fact, I want to see how, in order to record these chops, I will have to go right back into that screen. Boom. Go back into chops. You'll remember all the chops, where they're at or whatnot. And now I can just press 6 record. But matter of fact, you might want to count in. So let's turn on count in. Boom. And let's record that in. And once you're done recording that in, You can exit out of sequence record. You can exit out of chop. It should be fine. All right. And at any time, you can start recording your stuff in. So I like that, what we got going. And what I'll do is just start recording. I'm not even gonna stop the sequence. And we got our beat going so far. You can go out of sequence record. We'll press and hold shift and then press the tap tempo button. And now it should just only be on record for the metronome. And basically about it. I'm not going to stop there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press a pad and I'm going to find a bass patch. And all I have to do is just go into sample select. So make sure that you press the sample select button, and then we'll just navigate back to our, internal sounds. And they have a lot of bass patches. Ooh, damn, that actually sounds good. So I'm going to use this sound right here. Make sure that I have the pad selected, of course, so it doesn't delete anything. And now that bass patch is on there. What I'm going to do now is just go right back into the sample itself. And I'll go to tune. And I'll make sure it's on mono. Now with this bass, you'll notice that it plays no matter what I do. And see, there's note on and note off mode. So on the MPC sample, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is press and hold shift and hit the chop button. And now it'll play only when I press the pad. Now, how can we play this chromatically? Well, on the MPC sample, you have 16 levels. So now, sequence record, then the play button. What I'll do is adjust that bass, because I know that bass is too much. It's a lot in here. Let's get out of 16 levels. And then we'll adjust the volume. Let's just say you don't like what you laid down with the bass notes and all this other stuff. So how would you erase it? Well, I'm going to show you. So let's start with this right here. So you have this bass note and you don't like what you recorded. All you have to do is just press the play button, press and hold erase, and delete all the stuff in real time. It's just like the MPC. All right. And if you don't want to erase everything and you want to recall it, you just press and hold shift and then do undo, and it will undo the removed event. Now we're going to talk about setting up sequences, multiple sequences. So let's press the sequence button here. And now I have that, and I can even mute that. I didn't like any of that stuff there. That was trash. And then I'll go back to that sequence. And I will press and hold shift and then press copy and then press a pad. So now all the pads will have exactly what we had in the other sequences. Now I can make these sequences unique in a sense by going to the sequence that I want. Like I don't want a bass line on that, so of course that's what we'll utilize the erase button, play that. And then we'll just continuously erase. So now when we go to this sequence, and once it loops over, all right, now that we have enough to arrange a beat, what we're going to do is just press and hold shift and then go into song mode right here. And then you can just insert your sequences. So you can play them back right here. And now I will go into this one right here, insert. So you got to tap on the pad to insert it. And then we'll just play it back so we see how it will flow. And now that we got a flow, we could just go ahead and just add, insert, and then we'll just insert one more, and then we'll play it back. And it's going through the process. And there you go. The other thing that you can do from here, you can remove stuff, of course. I'm not going to remove anything right now. You can export it. It says right here, it says export song to audio mix down or a new sequence here. It will tell you right over here. So you can just do a new sequence and put it back into one of the pads in sequence mode, and it'll be the full beat. That is a very useful thing to do when you want to do track mutes or something like that, because track mutes on here are not individual for each and every sequence like the modern day MPCs. You can do a mix down here. You can create a song, name it here. But what I want to do here, in a sense, is save it. So how do you save? Press and hold shift, and then hit pad number 16. Now from here, this is where the important stuff happens, because you can truly mess it up and you don't want to put too many things on the internal hard drive. So let's go ahead and do save project. What I'll do is mess with the data wheel here until I get a number, because I'm not going to spell first. I'm just going to put a 1 there. Then we'll get an S. Then we'll get this T. And then we'll scroll back for a B. We already have an E here. We need an A. And then we have first beat. You'll hit do it. And then you saved your project there. It's saved in an internal drive, but it's fine for right now. I'm cool with it. But yeah, you can save it to your external drive if you want to. So don't worry about that. But that's how you save the beat. Let me know how you feel about this video. Hopefully you found it to be easy so you can start your first beat. It's, you know, a new device. I like it for what it is. Only disappointed in a few things. You know, if I want to talk about my disappointments for the MPC sample, I would love for it to have something like individual track mutes for each sequence, like the modern day MPCs. It's powerful enough to do it, but I guess that gives you more of a reason to get an MPC 1 or something like that. It's just not like galvanizing or destroying any of their other products, so they, you know, they scaled it down. But yeah, it didn't take me much long. This video right here, I'm doing this way before the release of the of the MPC. But let me know how you feel. If you're enjoying your MPC sample, I am too. Of course, I will have a masterclass so that you guys can get some further tips and stuff like that. I don't know if it's necessary with all the information that will probably be out. I've talked to all the other content creators in this space, but blessings, we out this bitch.